Anthony.
I thought some of the most compelling connections were how the little Degnan girl was killed, and then how Lucila Lalou in Manila was killed in reference to the Black Dahlia. And I think we talked about that real briefly. That would be pretty
Okay.
compelling.
One of the red lipstick murders in 45, well, there were three. And one of them was a little 6-year-old that was kidnapped out of her bedroom, taken out a ladder, taken to a location, surgically bisected. Again, a surgeon, skilled surgeon, not an amateur. And her body was posed, you see the arms above it, in the sewers of Chicago. The body was placed off a street called Hollywood Avenue, okay? Coincidence, you can say, perhaps, but that's the fact it was. Taunting note written in lipstick, stop me before I kill again, before I kill more. Surgically bisected, but not just any bisection, between the second and third lumbar vertebrae, which is the only place you can go without having to use a saw to go through bone. So whoever did this had to know where they were going and what they were doing. Elizabeth Short, between the second and third lumbar vertebrae. Same thing. There's a murder in Manila he commits. Same thing, surgically bisected. So that's a very strong signature link. Huge news back then on these lipstick murders. We get to the fast forward a year and a half to the Black Dahlia murder. The suspect drives up the street here, which you see that splits off to the right and left. This street here is called Degnan. So he drove up and he went. It's basically a coin toss. You go to the right, you're still on Degnan. You go to the left, you're on a street called Norton. But back then in the 40s, it wasn't marked or anything. So he drives up Degnan, places the body, thinking he's on Degnan, places the body on the lot. And what's the name of the little girl in Chicago? Anyone? Degnan. I'd never even heard of that name before. So Hollywood, the Degnan's linked to Hollywood, the Hollywood physician. He links the Elizabeth Short to Degnan. Again, these are subtle, taunting messages. He also does that. He also does that in the Zodiac crimes too. He also uses reference points, which carries this very unusual signature forward. Tragically, and this is the real headline to me, as far as all of the books, is that a young teenager, was arrested in 1946, 17-year-old, for the red lipstick murders. He was arrested. He was tortured. They poured ether on his testicles. They gave him a spinal tap. They questioned him around the clock. He was sleep deprived. And basically, he confessed to the crime. He didn't know any of the details. He wasn't able to tell him anything. No trial, no conviction, immediately sent to prison. He's now serving his 64th year in prison for a crime that I strongly believe he did not commit. And many, many others do. There have been independent investigations besides mine by others that say this is impossible, he couldn't have possibly done it. And there was no trial, and then there was no sworn evidence, nothing. So this is a real tragedy. Here's the 17-year-old boy, here he is now. And if nothing else, if we can get DNA or something, I mean, that would really, you talk about a terrible injustice. And there's a lot more. There's just so much. That's why it's 1,400 pages long. There's so much detail, and I would just skim the surface here. But basically, I'll leave you with that. If anybody wants a copy of the book, I'll be happy to personalize it for you. And thanks for inviting me, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks.